Time to have some fun with our old friend Matt Powell again, because why not? I've been feeling lousy since the end of September. Still got a sore throat. So I need to have some fun. Let's go along for the ride. Hello everyone, welcome back to The Simple Skeptic. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit the little bell, you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. And as I always say, hit the like or unlike. I can't tell you what to do there. Matt Powell, as I've said before, is the gift that keeps on giving. Now this video is going to seem a little frivolous. Yeah, it's a little frivolous, but hey, I need to have some fun. It's going to seem like an ad hominem. I'm going to put a link down below to a previous video I did on what an ad hominem actually is and why some things that seem like an ad hominem are actually well-deserved. And in Matt Powell's case, you'll see that it's well-deserved. I'm going to show you a little clip from another YouTuber named Skylar Fiction. I've shown this before, and it certainly won't be the last time I show it. It's a clip that really shows how reprehensible and disgusting Matt Powell is. And my thanks to Skylar Fiction for calling him out on it and exposing him, shining a light on the sort of asshole he is. Well, that word will be coming up a lot more. I think you'll agree that this guy is not worthy of decent responses. He's just a foil for, not abuse, but mocking and ridicule. Let's have a look at it.
But now, did you used to mention something? You don't believe that gay people should be stoned to death, do you?
Well, I believe the Bible puts a death penalty on it. Obviously not by me or by anybody, you know, in our regular society. Obviously, I believe it's the government's job to execute criminals. And, you know, I believe that the Bible says clearly that homosexuality is a criminal crime. It's a crime. It's one of the worst crimes ever.
I guess it's good that we're not a theocracy, right? Because we're not a theocracy in this country. So you don't believe our government should be able to dictate that we stone gay. Is that what you're advocating for? Is that our government should stone gays to death?
I don't, by whatever means they execute people. And obviously I believe in humane, you know, putting to death.
I think that's a contradiction. You know, what you're saying, humane, you can't use the word humane and then say you're going to kill people who are gay.
Yeah. Matt Powell actually wants to execute people who aren't straight. That's how disgusting he is. So I don't have any personal or professional respect for him. We're just going to use him for a little fun. Now, this the genesis of this actually goes back to probably the 1970s, long before the internet was around, and certainly before the World Wide Web was around. We couldn't get things off YouTube. We couldn't get things off Wikipedia. We couldn't communicate easily. We were writing letters to each other or phoning each other long distance. You had to get stuff from magazines. So I cannot remember exactly where I initially read this, but it went something like this. I believe it was a creationist trying to call out evolution and saying that how do we know we evolved from apes? I mean, people say that we are bilaterians. I don't know if he used that term, but bilaterians are those who have a bilateral symmetry, like most like all vertebrates, in fact. And a lot of arthropods. Why were we not evolved from something like, starfish? And they used the example of the Vitruvian Man, a well-known picture by Da Vinci, which shows a man with his arms out and, you know, legs spread, and they said, well, that shows a five-sided symmetry, doesn't it? Like the head, two arms, two legs. Yeah. No, they're wrong. But it got me thinking. Maybe Matt Powell did go along a different evolutionary lineage. And we're going to have a look at that. The starfish are members of the Echinoderms. Those are organisms that show a radial symmetry, often a five-sided symmetry, but many starfish have many more arms than 5. And they include the starfish and the sea cucumbers, the sea urchins, and things that we're basically familiar with. So let's have a look and see if Matt Powell could be an echinoderm. Well, he's certainly got about the same level of intelligence, but I think a starfish or a sea cucumber would be much cooler to hang with, go to a party with, have a drink with. Just nicer all around. I don't see starfish and sea cucumbers and sea urchins trying to execute their colleagues, their relatives, for being gay. I don't think any one of them has ever done that or called for it. I'm not even going to bother looking it up. Let's examine this a bit more. Let's start with something called the 5-toothed sea cucumber, Actinopygia agassiz. It's a fairly common sea cucumber found in the tropical and semi-tropical waters of the Atlantic, Western Atlantic, as far as I know. It's an interesting little animal. It does show a 5-sided symmetry, although like all sea cucumbers, instead of laying flat with the 5 sides spread out like a starfish does, it lays on one side and stuff goes through from one end to the other. The 5-toothed sea cucumber is an interesting member of the group. Now, sea cucumbers do have a mouth and an anus. The mouth is surrounded by little feelers that are used to pull in prey and eat it. So we know which end is the mouth end on a sea cucumber. But the 5-toothed sea cucumber is a little different. It has those little palps or tentacles, but it has 5 teeth arranged in a radial pattern, but the teeth are at the other end. The teeth are actually in the anus. Yeah. And that's where it draws in food and eats, I believe. It may draw it in from the other end and chew it in the anus, I'm not sure. But it has 5 teeth in the anus. It has a protective instinct that a lot of other sea cucumbers have. When it's attacked by a predator, it will suddenly eject its innards, its sticky guts, out of its anus, and they will wriggle around on the ocean floor and attract the predator. And some of these parts are toxic to the predators, and they learn that that made me sick. I want to attack this thing again. Also, the 5-toothed sea cucumber has a fish called the pearlfish that lives in its anus. It backs in there, and when it wants to feed or whatever, it comes back out. I think there's some debate over whether this is a parasitic relationship or whether it's simply symbiotic, or whether the pearlfish just lives there without any benefit or harm. I'm not sure. We don't need to go into that. So how is it possible that Matt Powell could be related to an echinoderm and come out of the echinoderm family rather than the hominids? Well, here we have an animal which has teeth in its anus. It eats in its anus. It chews up the food in its anus. It ingests its stomach and parts of its innards through its anus to deter predators. It has a fish that lives in its anus. The entire life of the 5-toothed sea cucumber seems to revolve around it being nothing but an asshole. Have a nice day, Matt.